Last week we explored how trauma from our childhood trauma, has the potential, the ability. It's potent. It could filter into adulthood, childhood trauma filtering into adulthood, and how to identify what those spirits are, because there's is really a spirit when we think about trauma. What traumatizes a person, an individual, and how to outgrow that spirit, or how to outgrow that force, how to outgrow and overcome those feelings, those emotions that that are overwhelming, that come to attack us or to make us feel low or to make us feel down. We experience, several different emotions. And so today, last week was a segue into today's podcast, where we're talking about when the pain lingers. When the pain lingers, when trauma is trapped inside. I am your host, Dr. Lydia Michelle Young. I am here with my co-host, Intercessor Janine Nicole. Today is Wednesday. It is the middle of the week. Wednesday, midweek refreshing fire. And I am sensing that there's someone who's listening, whether it's in America or in a different country than America, who is longing for healing, who's longing for a change, longing for a difference to be made in your life, and you're looking for an answer to how to deal with the trauma that you're experiencing, trauma that's trapped inside, pain that has been lingering in your life for many years. Intercessor, come on and jump in on that. Good to have you today.
It's good to be here. Good evening, everyone. Trapped trauma. A lot of people don't realize that there's trauma that's, it is trapped in the inside of them, because, for so many years they've been able to wear masks, if you will. They've been able to put on that smile. They know, when to put on that smile. But then they go home and, it's a different set of emotions that they're experiencing, that they've been dealing with. Relationships, a lot of people have gotten married, and they've taken that childhood trauma into that marriage. And now that marriage, there's such a divide in that relationship because of that trauma that's trapped within. People have had kids. They've birthed kids into the world, brought kids into the world, and, their relationship with their child is not necessarily what they would desire it to be, and they don't know why. But the answer is because of those unresolved issues, that trauma that's trapped on the inside, that trauma that's been allowed to grow up with the individual. How many of us knows when there's issues that are unresolved, just because we are, we're getting older in age, it doesn't mean that the trauma, the issues, they just disappear. Right. Where do they go if they're not dealt with? Where do they go if they're not faced head on? Where do they go? They go nowhere. They grow up with us. So definitely looking forward to jumping into this subject on this evening.
Absolutely. You said where they're unresolved. So the trauma is a result. There are feelings, there are emotions. We talked about that term, emotion, Intercessor, where emotion, that word literally means to stir up or to move out. Emotion, motion, there's movement that's taking place on the inside, right? So feelings, like there's a distortion, there's all types of feelings that could actually alter and change a person on the inside. And so it's years later, it still hurts. It happened years ago, but years later, there's still that pain. Years later, there's still depression and stress and anxiety and sadness and loneliness and all these underlying emotions. It's my goodness. It's the weight of a loss, or the weight of a breakup, the weight of being mistreated, the weight of abuse, the weight of a lie being told on an individual.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're discovering, we want to share how to process the pain, the emotion, the trauma that has gone on in your life that's been unprocessed, it's been unresolved. And then what happens? It still hurts. Years later, it still hurts. And then the memories causes the feeling to resurface. Come on, jump in.
Yeah. One of the key factors, in addressing that, the trauma, the devastations, those emotions that have yet to come out, right? They're trapped on the inside. The number one way to address those is identify.
That's it.
We have to identify, right? You gotta get to a place in life that we stop running. We stop, trying to sweep it under the rug. We stop trying to cover it up. We stop trying to put a Band-Aid on an open wound that has, just expanded. It has grown over the years, right? The Band-Aid can't do nothing.
Right.
Because the wound is so deep, it's wide open. And a lot of toxins and just a bunch of stuff has crept in. It crept into that open wound to cause it to expand even the more. What is a Band-Aid going to do for that? Absolutely nothing.
Right.
So the number one thing that we have to do in life, we have to identify that pain, right? We got to put an identifier on it.
Right.
In order to to start the process of healing, to start the process of becoming whole. We have to identify. That's the first step. And a lot of people don't want to take the time to identify, because when we take the time to identify, then what are we doing, doctor? We're facing, right, that identifier head on. And we begin to start dealing and experiencing, those emotions that are so uncomfortable, right? With the well opens up, if you will. The well opens up, and we can find ourselves at work. And the next thing you know, our faces are just flooded with tears.
Right.
Because that well has opened up, because we have identified. And one of my mantras, some of you are well aware of my mantra, right? It takes strength to heal. It takes strength to heal. It does. But healing is painful, but it is worth the process. And a lot of people don't want to, deal with the healing process because of the strength that is required. Because of the strength that is required. But the number one, if you want to be healed, you want to be made whole, you got to first identify.
You got to identify. You have to name it. You have to name it. And it's when traumatized people feel permanently damaged. There comes a moment in life where it's time to release the emotion. Release the emotion. It's stirred up in you. Now do something where where your actions cause it to move out.
Right.
To move out. See, we bottle up feelings. We allow feelings to build up. Then there's resentment, and then there's bitterness and hatred and just so many. There's an elevation and escalation even in that.
Right.
We don't get any better when you say like sweep it under the rug.
Right.
We have to unmask it. We have to unmask the pain, unmask it, not suppress it.
Right.
But unmask it. And so, because if we fail to do so, it's going to interfere with healing. The pain, the trauma will interfere with healing. It will interfere with our work life. It will interfere with our relationship with our children. It will interfere with our relationship with the spouse or with our parents. It will interfere with sleep. It interferes with us being able to function. Health, it interferes. Mental health, physical health. Our total well-being is dependent upon us being able to release those things that have caused us pain. We have to learn to release. Come on. John.
Yeah, learn to release. I like how you put that, unmasking the emotions. It exposing those emotions. Those emotions, they don't want to be exposed. They don't want to be unmasked. They don't want to leave you. They don't want to leave, that dwelling place. The dwelling place is your heart. The dwelling place is your overall being, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those emotions, they find a home. They find a home, and then after a while they become so comfortable, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
to where we have to evict them.
Right.
We got to make them so uncomfortable with being comfortable. We got to want to get them up out of us,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that is a part of that healing process.
Right.
And it is a process. Healing is a process. It is a step by step, moment by moment process.
Right.
And many of us who have gone through that process, we have not arrived. We have not arrived, but we have learned to walk out that process.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've said on here, in past episodes, we have to become so passionate about our overall well-being.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that again. We have to become passionate about our overall well-being, to where we don't allow anything and anyone to stop us, to prevent us from being whole. From being whole emotionally,
Right.
from being whole physically, from being whole spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, again, we have to identify.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, we have to release and let those things go. Unmask the emotions.
Right. Unmask the emotions. Name them. What is it? What is it that I feel? What's that feeling? Identify it. What is it? Is it anxiety? Are you sad? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling broken? Are you angry? Has fear set in? What do you feel? So unmasking, identifying and naming it, call it out, call it out. And so the importance of releasing the emotion, or allowing the emotion to stir and move out, what's important about that is it allows a person to express. You can express what you feel in a healthy way.
Right.
It's important that we learn to release, that we learn to let go, so that build up, bottled up resentment it's not a reaction. Reaction is when we don't think clearly. We just move, we just do something, and it's impacting. When we react, there's an explosion. But if we think thoughtfully, we can respond to what it is we feel. We can respond to that loved one. We can respond to that friend. We can use healthy words, have a healthy conversation, be assertive, but don't go off on nobody.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to unmask and expose the giant in your life. Expose the giant in your life. It's outgrown many of you anyway. When we hold those things in, those emotions, that problem, that trauma, it has a way of outgrowing us. That's why we've talked about, you can outgrow that giant. You can outgrow that force. You can overcome that big thing in your life that has tried to dominate your thinking, that's tried to dominate the way you move, the way you function, the way you talk, the way your conduct, your body language has tried to dominate and control your life. And so your life is going in a direction you don't desire, or the direction it's not really destined for you. Why? Because of the giant. Expose the giant in your life. Believe your situation will improve. Don't allow your mind to get stuck, because when we suppress, we get stuck in our minds.
Yep.
And it's hard to come through. It's hard to get that breakthrough. So when we're loaded down, we must learn to unload. Name it, call it out. Come on, intercessor.
Right. And I like how you put, we can express ourselves. There's a way to express ourselves even when we're angry. Right. I mean, scripture says, and not everybody tuning in, is a believer or considers himself to be Christian. But scripture does clearly say, be ye angry, sin not. Be ye angry, sin not. Right. So in other words, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be, upset. It's okay to not, be happy about the experiences that you have experienced in life. That's okay.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. We are all out here lifing together. We are all out here going to experience and have experience, various emotions. And not all of those emotions have, been emotions that have been delightful, full of joy, and just put a great big smile on our faces. Some of the experiences that we have had in life have been very uncomfortable and have made us very angry. But there is a healthy way to express oneself. Even if, yes, you've been in a room full of people and everybody in that room has done you wrong, you are justified in how you feel. However, there is a healthy way to express it.
Right.
A healthy way to address the issue. Right. And it's not for the sake of others, it's for the sake of ourselves. Our healing is about ourselves first, so that we can be better suited and better fit for those relationships.
Right. Exactly. So it's really what came to me, intercessor, listening to you is 1 Peter in 5:7. It says, casting all your care. You can release what's inside. You said that there's a healthy way to do it. So my thought to follow up on that is the more you do, the more you practice, the better you become.
Right.
The more you give effort, the better you become. You will be sustained in your efforts.
Right.
You will be sustained. Why? Because there's a hunger in you to heal. There's a hunger in you to be well. There's a hunger in you to do better. There's a hunger in you to release all the toxins. It's toxin. It's poison.
Right.
What happens when there's poison on the inside? It causes sickness, emotional, mental, even physical. I mean, emotions can manifest in our bodies. Don't allow the emotion, the trauma to stay trapped inside, because it can bring illness. It can bring illness. But when we look at 1 Peter, if I could bring this out, 5:7, it does say casting all your care. Even in Psalm, I believe it's 55:22, and it says casting all your care. Why? Because if you cast your care on him, what does it mean to cast? Even in the Hebrew, it means to forcefully throw. It means to hand over, to give over to him. Hand over your worries, hand over your anxieties. That's the problem. We're holding on to so much. We're holding on. Open up and release yourself.
Right.
Release yourself. He will sustain you. He will keep you. Who am I talking about? The one who created you. And so it's important to cast all your care. If you have to cry, cry. Cry it out. Shed those tears. Allow the toxins and the poison to flow out of you. And so when you cast your care, you forcefully throw, you abandon those emotions that have held you back. You eject those emotions that have crippled you mentally, emotionally, and you learn to move forward in life. Come on, intercessor.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't you want a lighter you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask that question again. Don't you want a lighter you?
Get the weight off.
Get the weight off. Learn the truth of who you really are. Get to know you. Spend some time with you. Make you your number one priority. Walk into the truth of your identity, the truth of who you are. Identify it, release it, and let it go so that the healing process can begin. It is worth it. It is worth it. There's a beautiful lighter you that awaits you. Fight for your healing. Let the healing process begin on this evening.
That's it. Peace be to you. Peace be to your house. And peace be to all you.